Hey guys, Samia here, wedding and portrait photographer, and I wanted to make a quick video on what the heck I am doing before a wedding, just for other wedding photographers to stay organized. What is that process of preparing and making sure you have all the information you need so you could feel confident photographing a wedding? What does that look like? I wanted to make a video and show you, so if you're interested, feel free to keep watching. Okay, so the first thing I'm doing is I'm sending a questionnaire to the client to ask them for all the information I need for their wedding. And I'm sending this through an automation I have set up at 45 days out. And the reason I'm doing it at 45 days out is because that's when they actually know the answers to all these questions. Usually wedding photographers, couples book about a year in advance and they don't actually know their colors and things like that. So when they first book, I'm sending them a questionnaire to get to know them. And in that onboarding email, I'm mentioning, hey, this is the first questionnaire that I've attached to get to know you. There will be another questionnaire 45 days out that will ask for all the logistics of the day. So in other words, don't worry about updating me every week or two about something happening. I'm going to ask you once everything is settled for all of that information. So it does eliminate a lot of the back and forth, and it lets them know, hey, anything I need to know, I'm going to ask you for it. So it makes you super proactive in your business. So that's what I like to do. And then my Honeybook automation is automatically sending this out at 45 days out. You can do it earlier if you want. I found that 45 days to be a good time frame to, do all of this. So I'm going to show you the questionnaire first, and then I'll show you what I'm doing with this information, what I'm pulling out of it. So I asked for all the addresses, getting ready, ceremony, reception, confirm wedding date. Is it indoors or outdoors? Combination, please explain. I asked them to list their timeline for the day. This is not the photography timeline. I'm going to take this and I'll show you and make a photo timeline out of it. I asked them their estimated number of guests, and usually this is very different from when they inquired. Contact information of different people. I try not to text the actual client on the morning of. Wedding party, how many people? Bridesmaids, groomsmen, please list their names and their relationship to you, and then I try and memorize these names. This is important, their family shots list. I tell them I recommend having this many, and then I'm going to pull this and I'll show you. But I asked them to list all these family shots first here. Wedding colors, family dynamics, divorce, separated parents I need to know about. Restrictions to the ceremony. Will there be a receiving line? Are you doing a garter toss, something that involves flying things? Are there any surprises you're planning for your guests? Will there be special dances? Venue, planner, coordinator, ask them for all the vendors with their Instagram and email. And then anything else I should know. So that is the foolproof questionnaire that I send out to clients 45 days out. All right, so I'm going to show you how to use all this information that your couple sends you. So this is a previous wedding. I already did, photograph this wedding, delivered the photos and everything. So this is an older client file. I did scroll down to block out their addresses, but basically they sent me the address in the first question. All indoors. If you enter combination, please explain. They usually give some helpful insight here. So final timeline of the day. So this is an example. I asked the client, what are you guys doing all day? So notice they're going to have brunch. Then they're going to, she says photos begin at 2. That is going to be something I'm going to just verify. So what she said here is she's showing me everything that's happening in the day. And what I would do is I would say, okay, so photos begin at 2. So I would make my 8-hour timeline based on all of this information. And what it would look like would be like 2 o'clock, detail photos, stuff like that. So I'll show you that in a second here. But estimated number of guests, that's all I'm pulling from this first part is, okay, I need to make a timeline. And then, I see all this information. They have 20 combinations here. So what I'll do is I will copy and paste this. And then I'll show you what happened with this, what I'm pulling both of these things out. So, and then anything else we should know, basically, and that's not that relevant. So let's go into the project and I'll show you. I'm going to show you first my email template. So what I am working towards here is coming up with emails. I want to show you the pre-wedding email that I'm trying to work towards. So this is the pre-wedding email that I'm trying to work towards. So I'm trying to get everything together so I can send this email, and it says, please approve this final timeline and this final family photo list, and then here's a note about your details prep box. Like, please gather everything. So I am getting all the information to confirm these two things. So if we go back into the project, I will show you what that kind of communication looked like a little bit. So in here, I said, I got their questionnaire in. I said, hey, thank you so much. I went and dove into their photo list. So I said, here are my recommendations for adding people, because what they were doing was the bride wasn't in this photo and the groom wasn't in her photos. They were doing entirely separate. So the first thing I'm doing from that questionnaire is I'm making recommendations for this list. And then I think she didn't respond, so I resent it. And then what I did was I made a photo timeline. So I started at 1 o'clock and said, here's my recommendation based on everything that they wrote in that questionnaire, all of that. And then she ended up saying, I think she ended up texting me, everything looks good. And then the next thing was just payment and post-wedding. So basically you can see how this is the template I sent pre-wedding, was final timeline and final family photo list and all of that stuff. So that's the two things I'm pulling from that questionnaire and using. Let me know if you have questions. That was a lot of information, but I'm basically looking for those two things, and yeah. So that's really everything that goes into that pre-wedding email. If you want some of these email templates that I was showing, you can download my free email templates for photographers. I think one of them is the pre and post-wedding email. So you can get that in the link below. And then if you wanted to look into my entire automation for wedding clients, and this is part of it, you can check out my course in the link down below. But if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you next week here on YouTube.